Today we'll be going over the death of King Von. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist. Von is at an album release party celebrating the release of his new album. To my understanding, there's two vehicles. Von is in one vehicle and some of his entourage, and then there's the other vehicle, which has his manager and the rest of his entourage. The plan was originally they're all going to go back to the hotel after the album release party, just go relax, go to bed, whatever have you. Well, Von, without telling anyone, kind of acts a little out of character. And he ends up beelining to the hookah lounge. This after-hours hookah lounge that he beelines to, he doesn't tell the other car full of people, his entourage, his manager, etc., that he's going there. He gets there, they try to get in. They're told they can't come in with the guns, right? So they go back to the car for whatever reason. I don't know if he's just exhausted, high, whatever. Von ends up taking a little nap for a short second. He might have even been waiting, like got a tip off that Quando was going to be there. He ends up napping in his car for a second, right? One of the people from Von's entourage, I'm not sure exactly who, they end up knocking on the window. Quando's here. From that point, I'm going to kind of let the tape do a little bit of the talking. So you'll see Von is going to be the one in all white walking up to Quando Rondo, which is it appears to be all black.
And he's by the passenger side
of the white SUV right there. Von starts laying into Quando immediately. Now, it's important to note that a lot of the entourage starts following as well. So Von's entourage is following, and keep in mind, Von's entourage is armed, okay? As you'll see right there, Lul Tim lets off some shots. Lul Tim is the one who is in the black with a white long sleeve undershirt. Okay, he lets off shots. He hits Von.
Yeah.
As he's hitting Von, he empties whatever ammo is in his gun. Okay, Von hits the ground. At that moment, the fight is over. Now, what's interesting about this is when Lul Tim hits the ground because he's shot in his leg by someone in Von's entourage, Slutty, OTF member, walks up to Lul Tim, stands over him, gets ready to kill him execution style, right? Finish it off. As he stands over him, his gun jams.
Oh my God.
It doesn't work. Lul Tim, in a last-ditch effort to kind of save his own ass, ends up pulling his gun, which he knows is empty, and points it at Slutty in an attempt to pump fake him and kind of get him out of there. Yeah, like he's completely bluffing at this point. He has nothing left to shoot at him. Slutty trips out for whatever reason. I mean, it's understandable. Yeah, there's a gun being pointed. He doesn't know it's empty, right? So he trips out, runs around the corner. Now he's gone, right? Lul Tim being shot in the leg actually ends up being a blessing because the undercover cops that were on scene didn't see him as a threat. He's on the ground. He's shot. Slutty runs around the corner. He ends up getting killed by the off-duty police.
Shot in the face, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And then there was another member from Von's entourage.
Louis. He's shot in the head as well, but he survives.
Which is crazy. So all of that happens. It's just a huge jumble, right? There is some conjecture as to Quando. It looks like he's trying, in my opinion, it looks like he's trying to help Von off the ground once he realizes he's shot. But there's a lot of speculation that he was trying to take a chain, which I don't think it looks like that. What do you think when you saw the...
In my head, if you were going to take something off of somebody, especially in a quick fashion, you'd use the weight of their body to kind of break the back of the chain and just kind of
take it.
He's scooping him. And it's known that Quando and Von were friends, or at least on amicable terms at one point. And Von in videos had mentioned that he wasn't going to use weapons. That he was going to make it physical. And I don't know if that's because it's a I don't want to kill you thing. It's just a respect thing. But even in the situation, his entire entourage has guns. But he approaches Quando and just immediately starts.
I think Lul Tim, I think that's his defense for self-defense. I think he sees his man getting hit, beat. He sees a bunch of Von's entourage approaching, a lot of them armed. And he makes a split-second decision. Like, now, let's run a hypothetical, right? Tim runs up, he pump fakes, shoots in the air, pretends like he's going to shoot Von, doesn't do anything. Who's to say one of Von's entourage at that point doesn't just get a free body and boom, they kill Lul Tim. Now they have self-defense because Tim had the gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone in retrospect can have their opinions, but at the same time, I think Tim was ultimately just doing what he needed to protect the breadwinner of his little organization or whatever.
That's what Tim was doing, yeah. But as far as like Quando, like what you were asking before, I think Quando was trying to help Von at the end of it. But Tim seeing Quando, get rocked, obviously was just, I mean, that's, in my head, that's one of the craziest things that somebody could do. That's crazy brave. It's either ludicrous or it's extremely brave.
I think it's brave, honestly, because you think about it, he sees his man, like, and that, like, he takes, like, one of the biggest risks ever because he sees Vaughn's entourage approaching, armed.
Well, you can see in the first video, everybody moves in like a chain.
And Quando, it's worth noting, is wildly outnumbered as far as entourages go. Like, Vaughn has the
number game
advantage.
one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's easy for people on Vaughn's side to go ahead and say, oh, well, they should have just fought it out. It's stupid to say that, like, anyone from Quando's side should have been calm about that situation, because especially with the kind of like history that Vaughn has, like, in the reputation as far as like in the streets and everything like that, Vaughn is known to be about it. Yeah. I think Lul Tim made a split-second decision now. I mean, we see how fast the video goes by. When I'm breaking it down, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, think about it, because it's like a movie, but like...
Well, it's the heat of the moment. Yeah. We're not there in the heat of the moment.
And it is crazy how much of this stuff kind of was like a movie, if you think about it. Like Lul Tim running out of ammo, pointing the gun at Slutty.
There are more universes, most likely, where Tim is dead.
Oh, for sure. Like he managed to not get killed by the undercovers. He managed to have a gun get jammed
while pointed at his face.
Yeah, while getting ready to be executed, while he had an empty gun.
And then manages to avoid getting shot by police or any of the entourage after the fact. Everybody just happened to scatter and forget about him.
Overall, a very wild event and rather unfortunate. As a fan of Vaughn, obviously, like, I didn't want him to die or anything, but I can understand where the other side came from and why the events that happened played out the way that they did.
We talk a lot about Tim, but Lil Slutty is, you know, he's right up there too, man, because he did try to stand up for Vaughn, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he was trying to defend him. I think his case of self-defense would have been a little weak at that point though. Like, but I think he was just willing to catch the body.
I don't think you can just stand over someone execution style while they're shot, kill them, and get away with self-defense.
Yeah, so I don't think he would have got away with it, but I think he was definitely trying to get some immediate get back, like, for Vaughn, because no matter what, I think, like, the way he saw it, I think, is whether Vaughn lives or dies, like, I'm gonna get this guy that got him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was about vengeance. And I think Tim's is more about organization, keeping everything structured. It seemed like Slutty was acting out of like pure impulse.
Yeah.
Which everything in this is pure impulse. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I think Slutty was acting more out of emotion, if you ask me. Like, I think he felt the type of way to watch Vaughn, the breadwinner, the guy that they're expecting to take them out of the hood, take them to the next level, just get shot. Now it's up in the air. Like, is that man going to be around till tomorrow? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a whole range of emotions going through his head. Like, whereas I feel like Lul Tim was like just straight objective. He was like, oh, no, we can't go out like this. Like, I'm not trying to die, like, or I'm not trying to have Quando die, like, because who's to say, like, Vaughn's beating up like Quando and then Slutty walks up to Quando and just right there and then, and that's over.
Because, you know, at the time they're not looking at security footage like us.
Yeah.
You know, they're experiencing it moment by moment. They don't know. You know, Slutty doesn't know that he's going to turn the corner and get popped by undercovers. You know, Quando doesn't know how he's going to react after seeing Vaughn get crippled and shot. You know, he stands him up.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think that was genuine, as weird as that sounds. I think that was a human moment in a heated debacle.
I think he didn't like Vaughn, but I think at the moment he saw Vaughn get shot, I feel like some of that went out the window. Now that's conjecture, but I do think that, like, maybe for a split second, Quando just like was caring about having him be okay. Like whatever past relationship they had, because they were cordial at a certain point.
And I think humans are kind of like that. A lot of the times you'll see, you know, there's tons of stories through history where people kind of like set differences aside in order to just take care of each other in that moment.
And that's nothing wrong on Quando's part. Like, not everyone has to be heartless. Like, I think it shows a bit of humanity in him as well, that he was trying to kind of get Vaughn off the ground and everything. Another crazy thing to note, though, is after all of the craziness happens, all the entourages load up. No one waits for an ambulance or anything. They end up heading to the same hospital, right? Closest one. And this is all happening in Atlanta. So you got to imagine neither one of them is in their home city. So they both probably just hit Google Maps for the closest one. They pull up. On the way there, Vaughn is telling everyone it's going to be cool. I'm good. I'm fine. Like, everyone else is apparently tripping out more than Vaughn. Well, later, Vaughn dies in surgery.
You can see that he can't walk in the video after he's shot. His legs are kind of just like drawing up on him.
Yeah.
And he can't stand on his own. And it appears that he has a spinal cord injury. And a lot of times those are fatal. And I think he knew that.
You think he was just trying to be a leader?
Yeah, like a leader. Like the type of person that he was. He's a product of his environment. As a person, he was very like mentally strong and capable. And I think in order to keep his friends and family right then and there calm, you know, they just lost one of their friends. Another one's been shot. They think he's going to die. Like, he was reported dead for like 2 days. And he knows that he's probably going to die. So he's just trying to keep them calm to get them to the next stage in whatever it is that this is. He doesn't know what's happening, but he just knows, he's like, we have to get here. You know, I'm going to keep y'all calm until we get there. But I think he fully knew that, like, it was over.
Yeah, I mean, and he could have also just been in shock or denial, too, is another side of that. But he was a very strong person. And then not only that, like, he did have a lot of leader aspects. So there is the fact that you could be right. He was trying to keep the team calm. Another interesting thing is when they pulled up to the hospital, not Vaughn's crew, but Quando's crew, Quando went on Instagram Live, actually, and started recording himself. Now, there's some speculation as to why, but the majority of speculation, as well as my opinion, is he probably knew they were all going to the same place. I think he's not dumb, and I think that he was worried, already knowing they're outnumbered, that if there was retaliation to happen at the hospital, if he's on live and they have to defend themselves.
No, it's a dead man switch. You can't kill him without broadcasting what you're about to do, like, to a certain audience.
Absolutely. And then not only that, he can defend himself. And if he does defend himself while on live,
if they're going to pin anything on him from the earlier incident, then he can be like, look, like, here are the aggressors. I'm at the hospital.
I would like to note that Lul Tim is still going through the legal process of this. He hasn't been charged officially. He was let out on bond for a while. He did end up catching a different charge, so I think he might be back in jail. But I think the reason he was able to get a bond so easily and so quickly is because the self-defense on this case is really looking strong for his side. And I think that everyone, like, with all the camera angles and stuff like that available to them, I think Atlanta and the DA kind of looked at it and they were like, can we say he's 100% wrong off this footage? Like, well, I think that's why they gave him the bond.
I think from, like, especially from his lawyer's point of view and the way that they're going to try to portray it to the jury is they're outnumbered, 1. There's weapons involved, 2. He sees his friend attacked, 3. He responds. If you remember when we were reading about, like, the New York gun laws and stuff, a lot of times New York gun laws or, like, gun laws will be phrased like self-defense is used in defense of yourself or others.
Now, New York is wildly different, though, on the flip side of that, because this is Atlanta. This is
Atlanta, but New York
southern area where open carry and things like that are a lot.
I use New York because they're notoriously strict, and even their self-defense about guns says, like, if you're in your home, we all know, like, New York is, like, kind of like just protecting the homeowner, but you can use it to defend others. It's not necessarily your own physical safety. That's what saves a lot of people in, like, situations where, like, somebody comes into, like, a food place and they're like, stick your hands on, like, you know, stick your hands up and give me all your money. If somebody kills them while they're doing that to you, they're going to get off on self-defense most likely because they were assisting you from not getting killed.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with state, and I think that the state and the city in this case, like, play a huge role. Like, the fact that this happened in Georgia and in Atlanta, like, I think that that's a huge aid for Lul Tim's case of self-defense, because just the fact of seeing everyone walk towards him, seeing his man get hit, he doesn't know what's going to happen. Like I said, the whole clip is like a minute, if that. And the shots, I think, rang out before a minute, you know? So it's kind of like a very strong case for self-defense. And another thing, too, is this could have really all been avoided because the whole issue started with just women.
Oh, the Quando young boy affiliation.
Yeah, so Quando just always is sticking up for young boy and his beef. And, you know, Vaughn, whether he was just trying to, like, be a troll or whatever, ended up doing a song with Gina and was seen with Gina, which is Youngboy's baby mama. And they have a lot of history, and Youngboy didn't like that, retaliated with a song with Asian Doll or whatever, which is Vaughn's off again, on and again girl as well. So a lot of this I feel like could have been avoided if it wasn't for posturing for the internet. I feel bad for Quando. He kind of caught astray in all this. Like, it wasn't necessarily his beef, but he feels such loyalty to Youngboy that he kind of got dragged in.
I think that's a little bit of what Quando realizes in the video. I think that's a stark realization when he's helping the man up and realizes his legs don't work. That dude has to live with that for the rest of his life. Like, seeing that. Not that he caused it, but that he had to see that.
It's definitely traumatizing. It probably was not an easy night.
And knowing what it was over a girl.
Yeah, I mean, there could have been that realization at the last minute, really. With that, is there anything you wanted to say as far as closing statements or anything like that around this case? Or
maintain your equipment.
Yeah, that's one. Appreciate y'all watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know. Do you think Tim should get off? Do you think Tim was in the right? You're a Vaughn fan. Who do you really feel like was in the right? And do you think the situation played out as it should have, or could it just have been avoided? Let us know your opinions down in the comment. Appreciate y'all. This is Tombstone Tourist.